Hi, my name's Elsa and I went through the New Hope training around 2 years ago. Recently, however, I've discovered myself using the tools I learned on how to be a good listener more and more in my everyday life. I work as a barista in a small cafe in a tiny town in Illinois, and Illinois, like the rest of the United States and the rest of the world, is currently facing a global pandemic. So the last week that our cafe was open, when we knew that we were probably going to have to close down, all the customers who came in and me and all my coworkers were really stressed and worried. And I discovered that when I asked people how they were doing, they would give me real answers. So I began to use the questions I learned and the tools I learned on how to be a good listener. For example, there was one day when me and my coworker were waiting for customers, getting the coffee beans ground and ready. And I asked her how she was doing. She told me she was stressed. And so I said, what's happened? What's going on? So she told me that she lived at home with her elderly grandparents. And if our cafe closed down, her main source of income would be gone. So I went on and I asked, oh, how do you feel? She told me she was really worried and really stressed. And so as we stood there grinding the coffee beans, I went on and said, yeah, what's the most difficult part for you? She told me that it was just hard to know what the future would hold, and not being certain of anything was really overwhelming. So as we stood there and ended our conversation, I told her the story of Jesus calming the storm, because it was a story I was telling myself to give me hope. And after I told her the story, she stood there and she said, thank you for that reminder. I'm going to take that story and go tell my grandparents. So it was a short conversation, but it was one of those moments where I listened well to someone and hopefully we gave each other hope.